hearing to order, and I'd like to ask our newest member of the Public Safety Committee, Legislator Philip, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry. Thank you, Delia. If everybody would just please rise, we'd like to do a moment of silence for Officer Moore. Thank you, everyone, and I'll ask the clerk to take the roll call.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Roll call committees. Public Safety. Deborah Muley. Thank you. Substituting for Ms. Bino is Carrie Salage. Here. Delia Dirigi-Whitten, Ranking Member. John Ferretti. Here. Mazi Melissa Philippe.
Here.
Vice Chair, Stephen Rhodes. Chairwoman, Denise Ford.
Here.
We have a quorum, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, we're going to hear from Police Commissioner Ryder, who will give us an update on the initiatives that were included into the police reform plan that was submitted to New York State last year. I'm going to keep my comments very brief, because I think it's more important that we hear from you, as we have probably a number of questions and comments from the legislators and from the public as well. But I do just want to note that I guess it has to be a proud moment for the Nassau County Police Department to know that somebody who came from your ranks is currently now the first black female police commissioner in the city of New York. So I think for me, there's a sense of pride in knowing that out of all of the candidates in the country, Commissioner Sewell was selected by Mayor Adams. So, we commend her on so far the way that she's been handling herself, and it's been very, very tough, to have officers, like not even a month in office, to have them wounded and then to lose two young officers, it's very, very sad. So, but I just want to say that for me, I'm very, very proud of the job that she's been doing so far. I'm very proud that it was our police department that gave them such a wonderful leader. And now as we go to another wonderful leader, another wonderful commissioner, Commissioner Ryder, we're asking now if you could just give us an update as to where we are almost a year after this was submitted.
Good afternoon, and thank you for that moment of silence, recognizing Osamora, and we will all be attending that funeral tomorrow, which will be very difficult, and then again next week. So again, it's a difficult time for law enforcement, but we know what we signed up for, and we know that what the job we have to do, but it doesn't matter what happens. We always stand by each other, and in those type of situations, we'll make sure that we are there for him and his family tomorrow. So, police reform. As we all know, the EO 203 by Governor Cuomo's office came down. We were asked to address several areas that were in his plan. We are happy to announce that we have reached all of our goals except one, that is just a delay in funding when it comes to 9/11 texting. But otherwise, we've opened up our complaint tracking and all the other categories that we're asked to touch. So I'll jump on a few of them. Body-worn cameras. As of January 1, as we promised, every officer on patrol has a body-worn camera. Every supervisor on patrol has a body-worn camera. All the management team have a body-worn camera. The only ones that don't wear a body-worn camera are some of the detectives, obviously because of the sensitive nature and the undercover assignments that they do. But everybody is wearing a body camera. I am happy to also announce that G-Tech is the company that we chose. We haven't had any issues. Hardware once in a while will break, a camera will break or so forth. That's going to happen. But as far as the camera working on scene, no issue. As far as downloading that data and putting it up to the cloud, no issue. We have our analysts that we were very fortunate enough to get brought in early and trained on Discovery. They have been able to turn all of that over in the 7-day window. Discovery allows us for 14 days to return the data over. We split the difference with the DA's office. We have up to 7. They get the second half of the 7 days. But we actually turn it over in 2 to 3 days depending on it. Our body worn camera analyst works 7 days a week. So some days there's multiple cameras, there's multiple videos. To give you an example, if there's one arrest and there's 15 cops at scene, that's 15 videos that got to be downloaded, be reviewed, put up to the cloud, get downloaded again into the DA system so they can access it. And the team has been doing a great job getting it done, along with the rest of the Discovery information. We had several of our own internal concerns. When you start to learn from things, it's our tactics. It's tactics for safety for ourselves. But the approach in the right to know, we announce ourselves when we get up. My name is Officer Ryder. I'm stopping you for the red light that you just passed on the corner on Smith Street. Can I see your license and registration? And by the way, I'm wearing a body camera. And by announcing that, that's a form of de-escalation, both for ourselves and for the individual inside the car. All of that is on the tapes as they're being turned over. We haven't had any issues in the past year. It was a steady rollout that started with the 1st and the 5th precinct, the 8th and the 5th precinct, and then we built from there and we went on, and again, no issue. So it's working very, very well. And the only delay was on a couple of cameras that we're waiting for, but again, we were able to take it from people that don't need it at the time, like academy staff. They don't need it, they're not wearing a body camera inside the academy. So we were able to get that to anybody that needed it. Shipping delays, as everybody knows, is a concern, but we've got everybody on patrol wearing a body camera. So we meet all of our goals. Training, implicit bias training. So we went through an entire process on the training. We created a 10-hour training block that includes police reform, legal updates, use of force, de-escalation, ethical and moral courage, procedural justice, implicit bias, and wellness. We have trained all members of the superior officers, including myself, down. Everybody had to attend the training. There's no excuses. Everybody from the district, from the DAI got trained. And as far as the cops go, we've got over 700 trained to date. The rest are still going through the cycle. But to answer the question of bias training, which we said we would do, we created another online training that they all had to do with the other 800. So everybody touched implicit bias training and bias awareness. The rest is, again, as you know, it's a large volume to get through the process of a 10-hour training block, along with training all the new detectives, all the new sergeants, and all the new police officers. Nobody leaves that academy, going back 3 classes now, without that training. And it's got very good reviews, including our villages, and our cities have also been part of the process. We have brought in outside trainers to train with our recruits. We've asked both from the LBG, we've had it from the African American, Hispanic, Latino communities all come in as guest speakers and speak about sensitivity training to all of our new recruits. So that has been expanded and going well. Our language line has gone very well. We had a very nice meeting with Cheryl. I see Cheryl is here in the audience today. And again, work to be done, things to make it better. And we had a very nice roundtable discussion about a month and a half ago, and moving in the same direction, going in the same goals. So everything's been working well there. As far as de-escalation, complaints, and data tracking, all of the data went up on the 6th month as we promised. So the 6-month calendar ends June 30th, and then we do it approximately, we get 1 month to gather that data, create the documents, and put it out. So it's always out by the end of July. This data that you have in front of you is the completed data. We rushed it up. It's would be due normally at the end of January, but we got it out to, the last couple of days, gathered it up and got it out. So all of our reporting requirements, our use of force forms are all on the computer. Our complaint tracking, as we promised, we got it now out there where it can be using Google Apps to file your complaint. We have it in Spanish, we have it in English. You can make a complaint in person, We will come to you. You can come to the station house. You can do it anonymously. We can take it through a text or through an email, not the text yet, that is coming, or you can take it and leave a message on the phone. You do not have to give your name to make a complaint, but we run down every complaint that comes through. Every complaint that comes through, as you know, the AG required 5 complaints in 2 years. We do 3 complaints in 1 year. So we improve that even better as the early warning system. So we can get those officers that have been accused 3 times in a 12-month period in front of the chief of department to get retrained, find out what the problem is. Is it a false report? Is it a good report? Or is there something this officer needs to be done and changed? Our complaints have gone down. And the reason our complaints have gone down, body cameras on both sides. I'm not saying it now, all of a sudden we prove that the public was wrong. We also proved that sometimes our cops needed to be a bit more courteous when they deal with the public. So those complaints have gone down. The AG currently has 15 investigations that we forwarded as they're required to do. If it's a use of force case, it's immediate, it goes to the AG. If it's a 5 in that 2-year period, they go to the AG. They currently have 15 investigations. We're fairly confident all of them are going to come back as unfounded because there is body cameras in some of them already. But again, we have to follow the requirement. There's no option, and so we send it right away. The DA's office has a couple of our cases that they're also looking. Anything that is a use of force, we always give to the DA. Their public corruption office takes it first. Any abuse of force has to also go to the AG. Anything of improper tactics or disrespectful in the public, that also now 5 times in the 24 months has gone to the AG. So we've given that to the AG. As far as our community outreach, and again, building on it, and I'll get to recruitment in a minute, and mental health. So we did, last year, we did our park walk and talk. That's stopping and visiting the business and the community. Just the business and the community, we did it over 2,218 times last year. Our visits to the houses of worship, 31,000 times we visited houses of worship last year. 31,000. Our visits to our schools, 20,000 times we went and visited our schools last year. And our IP visits to dignitaries, that's going out, community issues, as we call it, we did that another 1,200 times. Total park walk and talk and IP visits last year, 55,098 times. That's getting out and actually speaking to somebody. When we say IP a location, we say drive by. Stop, look, see what's going on. When we say park walk and talk, stop, get out and talk. This past weekend, just up in the Great Neck area, up on Steamboat Road, we were out greeting those that were attending service. Long Island Islamic Mosque we visited also on Friday before prayer, and we stayed there. We were out again all day Saturday on the Sabbath, and again Sunday visiting our churches. Our youth, for what we call the YACs, the Young Adult Councils, we did a total of 77 meetings last year through our precincts. We had a little bit of a slowdown, as we know, because of COVID, but we think outside the box. We actually did them outside before the weather got cold, and we'd sit them in an area outside the building, 6 feet apart, and got them to come. And like example, the first precinct had 17 meetings. They're our largest. The 4th precinct had 15 meetings. Community affairs. Now we're going to talk about a mentoring program. We have approximately 201 applicants that have entered into the mentoring program. I don't know who they are. That's part of the privacy, right? It's the mentor and the student that's mentoring that person to both take the upcoming exam or mentoring as they're going through the process. There was a young female who was graduated. She'll be going out on field training today or tomorrow. On the first couple of days, I met her in the academy. She was going to quit. And I spoke to her, and I said, you can't quit. You can't quit. You're only here 3 days. You went through too much to get here. And she said, I'll go back to work, and I come from the city. I'll go back to the city. Just work with us. Did you get a mentor? She goes, no. I hooked her up through Aida McCullough, through the Guardians. She went through and she got a mentoring program. She's getting out today. So we saved that kid, and that's the idea. We don't want to lose any of our good kids that have gone through the process. We don't want to lose any of the kids that we can get in. Pre-recruitment, as of today, for the upcoming test, we have 11,882 people already registered. Right? Out of that recruitment events, we did 216 recruitment events. Outreach and diversity meetings, we did 262. So you can see the number is going to grow. Competition's going to get harder. And if you listen to someone like Bishop Harvey, it's in the mass. We need the mass from all of our diverse communities. We need the mass. So I need a large group from the African American communities to sign up and the Hispanic communities to sign up. I get a large group from the white community, so I do understand that. Our recruitment was all in the minority communities, and you could see by the number, we're already getting them pre-registered. So that pre-registered app that they sign up for gets them into the program, has been working really, really well. And again, it's been good for us here in the police department. When I look at MCOT and I look at our mental health, that was the #1 concern that most of us had during the reform. We had last year, in 2021, we had 4,401 cases that we got called for a mental health crisis. We took 3,900 to the hospital. That's not the best number, and anybody an expert in mobile crisis will tell you that. We know that. The problem was the expansion of mobile crisis and getting the teams separated, and the hiring process, as we all know in government, takes time to hire these experts. November 1, we started rolling that project out. It hit some bumps. By December, we were seamless. They